The day my sister tried to arrest me. The room went silent the moment my sister stood up. Her chair scraped loudly across the polished wooden floor, the sound echoing through the small family restaurant we had gathered in. Conversations stopped. Forks froze halfway to mouths. Even the soft music playing through the ceiling speakers suddenly felt too loud. Then she said the words, "You're under arrest for impersonating a federal officer." Every pair of eyes in the room turned toward me. I slowly looked down at the metal badge hanging around my neck. The badge that had taken me 8 years of brutal training, deployments, and sacrifices to earn. The badge that proved exactly who I was. And somehow, my own sister thought it was fake. For a moment, I honestly thought she was joking. But when I looked up, her face was deadly serious. Behind her stood 2 local police officers. One of them had his hand resting on his belt. The other was staring at me carefully, as if trying to decide whether I was dangerous. Around us, the entire restaurant had fallen silent. My parents were sitting across the table, frozen in shock. My brother looked confused. But my sister, she looked proud, as if she had just caught a criminal. And that's when I realized something important. She truly believed I was lying. 8 years earlier, people love to talk about serving your country like it's some kind of movie. They imagine heroic music, waving flags, dramatic speeches. But the truth is different. The truth begins at 4:30 in the morning when your alarm screams in your ear. The truth is mud, exhaustion, bruises, and pain. The truth is watching people quit and deciding you won't. When I first joined the military, almost everyone doubted me. Some said I was too small. Some said I was too quiet. Others said I wouldn't last 6 months. But I lasted. Then I lasted longer. Then I started outperforming people who once laughed at me. Training after training. Mission after mission. Until one day, my commanding officer handed me a small black case. Inside was the badge. Not just any badge. A federal investigative badge. A symbol that meant I now carried authority most people would never understand. And responsibility even fewer could handle. But there was one thing I hadn't expected. My own family would become the hardest part. Back to the restaurant. "Ma'am," one of the officers said cautiously, stepping closer to me. "Your sister claims you're impersonating a federal agent." I leaned back slightly in my chair, studying his expression. He wasn't aggressive. He was just doing his job. "I see," I said calmly. Across the table, my sister crossed her arms. "She's been lying for years," she said loudly so everyone could hear. "She tells people she's some kind of federal investigator. I knew it was fake." Whispers spread through the restaurant. I could feel dozens of curious eyes watching us. Waiting for drama. Waiting for a scene. I slowly reached for the badge around my neck. Immediately, one officer stiffened. "Ma'am," he warned carefully. I paused, then smiled slightly. "Relax," I said. "I'm just showing you what she thinks is fake." I placed the badge gently on the table. The metal caught the overhead light. The officer leaned closer. His eyes narrowed, then widened. My sister laughed. "See," she said. "She probably bought it online. Anyone can do that." The officer picked up the badge carefully. Then he turned it over. And that's when his expression changed completely. His posture straightened. His face lost all amusement. "Where did you get this?" he asked quietly. I raised an eyebrow. "You're holding my credentials." He looked at me again. Really looked this time. Then something clicked in his mind. The realization hit him like a brick. He suddenly stood straighter. Then he handed the badge back with both hands. "Ma'am," he said. "Yes, officer." He cleared his throat. "You might want to explain this situation." Across the table, my sister frowned. "What are you talking about?" she demanded. The officer hesitated. Then he turned toward her slowly. Ma'am, this badge is real. The room exploded with whispers. My sister blinked. No, she said quickly. That's impossible. I calmly slipped the badge back around my neck. You see, I said quietly, this is exactly why you should verify things before making accusations. Her face turned pale, but she wasn't ready to give up yet. You're lying, she insisted. You always lie. The officer beside her shifted uncomfortably. Then he looked at me again. Ma'am, should we contact your command? Now that was interesting. I leaned back and considered the idea. Because if my command got involved, things would escalate very quickly. But before I could answer, the restaurant door opened, and 3 people walked inside, all wearing dark suits. The moment they entered, the entire room changed. The officers noticed them immediately. Their posture stiffened. Everyone could feel it. Something serious had just arrived. One of the men scanned the room. His eyes landed on me instantly. Then he walked straight toward our table. Behind him, the other 2 followed silently. When he reached me, he stopped. Then he spoke. Agent Lisa Carter. I stood slowly. Yes. He nodded once. Good. Then he glanced at my sister, and the officers, and the badge around my neck. His expression turned cold. Looks like we arrived just in time. My sister suddenly looked very, very nervous, because the man in front of her just pulled out his own badge, and it carried a seal far more powerful than anything she had expected. Federal Internal Security, he said. The entire restaurant froze again. Then he looked directly at my sister. You might want to explain why you're accusing one of our agents. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. And that's when the real trouble began.